the McDonald Bloodline. It is said that after the Collins-Bush bloodline invoked the Judas Clause on the Kennedy bloodline and ate JFK's brains to steal the manna of the king and to punish him for undermining our fiat worthless paper Rothschild-controlled British banking money system, the Onassis bloodline was later betrayed or at least burned out, and so it too needed to be replaced. It is said that the McDonald bloodline was given their seat. Who knows? The McDonald family are Scottish and were Druids. While many converted to Christianity anciently, many still practice Druidism today.
In the woods there grew a tree, and a fine, fine tree was he. And on that tree there was a limb, and on that limb there was a branch, and on that branch there was a nest, and in that nest there was an egg, and in that egg there was a bird, and from that bird a feather came, and of that feather was a bed. And on that bed there was a girl, and on that girl there was a man, and from that man there was a seed, and from that seed there was a boy, and from that boy there was a man, and for that man there was a grave, and from that grave there grew a tree. And on that bed there was a girl, and on that girl there was a man, and from that man there was a seed, and from that seed there was a boy, and from that boy there was a man, and for that man there was a grave, and from that grave there grew a tree.
The MacDonalds controlled the islands and coastal areas on the west coast of Scotland. When the Knights Templar were ordered to be murdered by the Pope and King Philip IV of France,
For France!
in part to get their vast wealth and to stop their Gnostic doctrines and satanic rituals, many fled, ultimately to Scotland, and were aided by the MacDonalds. There, these knights helped keep Scotland free from the British Crown for nearly 300 years. When the descendants of these knights, with the Jesuits and the ruling families of the Ashkenazi Jews of Europe, joined forces to create a future New World Order.
If you would like to cure the fever called life, get some relief from all the struggle and strife, the grandest medicine that I can propose is under your nose, a snake in the grass.
They gathered all of the Luciferian clans of the Great White Brotherhood and started the Illuminati on May the 1st, 1776.
Now, Daisy, will you tell us what it is, please, that the maypole represents?
The MacDonalds were important members of the Masonic Jacobin movement, the very same that George Washington warned all American Masons to stay away from. But just like his warning for us to stay out of foreign treaties, wars, and complications, we didn't listen to him, and American Masonry didn't listen to him either. Today, the MacDonald clan has members in a very interesting array of fields, and many are members of the Bohemian Grove.
In the woods there grew a tree, and a fine, fine tree was he.
Once again, midsummer sets us free.
And on that bed there was a girl, and on that girl there was a man, and from that man there was a seed, and from that seed there was a boy, and from that boy there was a man, and for that man there was a grave, and from that grave there grew
Did you hear the scream that was muffled by the cheers? In King Solomon's day, these screams were real sacrifices, and were muffled in the same way. In various positions of governmental leadership, they have encouraged greater collaboration with communist dictators, advised presidents and kings, headed secret medical research and human experimentation projects, been members of the steering committee for the Bilderberger Club, held seats on the Trilateral Commission, been members of the Canadian International Affairs Committees, sat on multiple Fortune 500 boards, been part of NASA's Planetary Explorer Commissions, worked on astrophysical projects to determine which frequencies from space impair human brainwaves the best, been leaders in the Order of the Golden Dawn, been very active in UFO research and support groups, work and run many world intelligence agencies, worked in governmental mind control research, were consultants to the U.S. Supreme Court, own and run many banks, are powerful leaders in the stock market, and are major authors in the UK occult book publishing world. One of this bloodline subsets, the Stewart family, has many powerful members in the Illuminati. There is one male Stewart who actually has a stronger claim to the throne of England than King Chucky does. He is 11th in line as a claimant, while Chucky is only 14th. This Stewart claim is a carefully preserved secret by the media. King Chucky is of the Hanover dynasty, which is Illuminati.
Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Out in the midday, out in the midday, out in the midday, out in the midday, out in the midday sun.
But when this Stewart claimant was asked if he wanted to have the throne of the newly formed nation of Estonia after the success of their bloodless singing revolution in 1991, he said he was not interested. The Stewart bloodline and their henchmen have been an important part of the leadership of Freemasonry down through the centuries. Now, of course, when anyone says McDonald's, the first thought is, of course, the fast food franchise with its golden arches.
And the moo here and the moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo. Old McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
All worldwide fast food establishments owe their philosophy on hospitality to the workflow which the McDonald brothers successfully pioneered in the 1930s.
E-I-E-I-O.
The corporation that grew from this has been rumored for years to be connected to Satanism. In fact, the book Satan Wants You first reported the rumor that McDonald's owner, Ray Kroc, paid tithes to the Church of Satan to help keep it going. Raymond did spend time while alive with New World Order elites and was a member of the Bohemian Grove.
And round that grave there grew a tree.
But there are two more oddities of note. Some years back, while McDonald's was growing, the U.S. government gave $40 million in public tax money to McDonald's to help them set up McDonald's restaurants in foreign countries. This money was spent under the guise of international goodwill and foreign policy, just as was done to Walt Disney in the 1940s.
Hubba hubba. Stop that.
In 1991, the total number of McDonald's restaurants in Europe alone totaled 959 restaurants. At least traveling Americans felt it was a safer place to eat if they feared any foreign gamboo.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. That's the real. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Perfectly. And I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. It's the real thing. What the world wants today is the
The other oddity is so disturbing that we will just let it speak for itself. It purports to be a radio interview with Rabbi Finkelstein.
And, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain the blood and we mix it with a Passover bread, and then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own, and we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets, and the people, they eat it for breakfast, they eat their children for lunch, and, us Jews, we gotta do what we do. The most important thing to remember between you, Pastor Wickstrom, and me, Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein of New York, that we both have two fathers, and so that's why we look at the world in two different ways. Doing a pretty good job right now.
Yes, you've done a pretty good job, but there's quite an awakening coming, and my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course, your father is talked about by my father in John 8:44, stating that your father was Satan and that you're the descendant of Cain, who was the first murderer. And you know that's true because you teach it in your synagogue.
Well, that's true, but it's not for you Goyim to know. But right now it's too late. It's over for you white race. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is. You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? You don't get a lot of followers, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it because the white men are cowards, and we go to the synagogue all the time and have some Manischewitz and dance the Hava Nagila.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that, but I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice on Passover.
Well, there was a Goyim that wrote a book about it back in the 30s. I forget his name at the moment. But anyway, he wrote the book. People didn't buy the book. People don't want to listen. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years, since down to Adam's time. We take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues, where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that, and then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular thing, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the Goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it. So that's your problem. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it. So that's your problem. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it. So that's your problem.
Now, some internet truth forums say that this is anti-Semitic and therefore can't be believed, since no Jew, since of course they can speak for all 16 million Jews at once, would ever do anything so horrible. I know a lot of Jews, and no, they would never do anything like this. But does that mean that no Jew would do this because the handful of great Jews that I know wouldn't do it? That's like calling all Mormons shits because Shit Romney is a myth. Or all Catholics are Illuminati because the Jesuits helped found them. Or all ducks are Nazis because Donald is white. Or all people cursed with an Illuminati last name are occultists.
You're like a flower that grew out of a pot of dirt.
America used to be established on individual rights, but somehow we have changed that where if you offend one bad egg, you have offended them all. The first Mormon, Joseph Smith, was once asked to describe his growing congregation. He said it best. Our people are like a basket of apples. There are some very, very good ones. But if you look at the bottom, you're going to find a few shit Romneys and Harry Reeds. Oh, no, wait, that's not right. Stupid teleprompter. He said, if you look at the bottom, you're going to find a few wormy bad ones too. Oh, well, I guess that's basically saying the same thing. The Donalds, Crumps, Stewarts, Camerons, Campbells, Douglases, Hamiltons, and Montgomery clans are believed to be subsets of the McDonald bloodline.
Let's do them all together now. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.